Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. Claire Ackers here, coming to you live from Sunnybank Mills in Farsley. It has just gone 9 o'clock on Friday morning. How are you today? Incidentally, my 14-year-old daughter just told me that all her and her friends laugh at me because for going good morning, good morning, good morning. But I quite like it, so it's staying. So, Phoebes, if you are watching this, then it's staying, and you're just going to have to deal with it. Okay, so today we are talking about what to do when clients are pushing all your buttons. If you are watching me live, please say hello in the comments. And if you're watching this a little bit later, then please say hello with hashtag replay. What to do when clients are pushing all your buttons. And this is a really fresh and raw conversation this morning. And I'm going to be sharing 2 real life case studies from clients this week. Now, I have changed a couple of the details just to protect identities. However, these stories are absolutely true and real. So we are talking about when clients press all your buttons. They trample boundaries, they challenge your prices, there is scope creep, they renege on payment agreements and terms, and it's horrible. It causes a lot of stress and sleepless nights. And for a small business owner, it can be absolutely catastrophic. So, my name is Claire Ackers. I am an authenticity coach, which is a made up job title. And what it basically means is that I work with female business owners, female entrepreneurs, and female founders to help them grow aligned and impactful businesses through achieving authentic self mastery. So, case study 1. Somebody I have been working with for about 4 months now, lovely, lovely lady, awesome lady, texted me in a tiz earlier this week. Now, one of the things I offer to my one-to-one clients is on the spot laser SOS coaching. So she texted me in a bit of a tiz and we had a conversation. A client of hers had asked her to complete a project for him, an additional piece of work, and he was asking her to reduce her fees. And she tried to push back, and he had done this really good Yorkshire impression, right, of going, "How much?" And it triggered her like anything and left her doubting her self-worth. And there's a bit of a history with this particular client in that historically he hadn't treated her particularly well. She was already reducing her fees to work with him in the first place. And she got the feeling that he never really respected what she was doing or her as a professional business owner. And we talked about him previously and acknowledged that he's not her ideal client. He's absolutely not her ideal client. But basically, she had decided to suck it up, technical term, whilst building her business and whilst being on the lookout for more ideal clients that she connected with at a heart and a gut level. And this was starting to happen for her. She was starting to get inquiries all the time from these ideal clients. But back to earlier this week, and she was in this real tears of what shall I do? And long story short, we talked it through and came up with 2 options. And both are viable depending on where you are with your business. This is your choice as to what you do about it. So the first option was to suck it up, to accept the reduced day rate, and to use that money to have a really nice Christmas, to have a short-term goal in mind to use that money for and kind of use that incentive to get her through it. Or the other option was to push back, was to set a boundary, line in the sand, have that maxim running through her head. I do not work with tossers, and accept the consequences of that. And we talked it through. But so I asked her, and this is always the key, I asked her my favourite question, and people who've been in my world for a while will be very familiar with this. What are you making this mean? What are you making this situation mean? And she was making it mean that I've got to suck it up, that he's going to think I'm cheeky and a naughty little girl and greedy if I hold my fee. I'm never going to work again. My reputation's going to suffer. He's going to slag me off to everybody. And I might as well suck this up just this once because I'm not in a position to turn down work and cash. However, the emotional impact of working with this guy, of sucking this up, was huge. Far more, I would argue, than the money it would have given her into a business. So she chose option 2, which to set the boundary. So she went back to him and she said, "Thank you very much, but this is my fee." And as predicted, he kicked off. He didn't like it. He said some pretty harsh things, some things that could have been really triggering if she hadn't been prepared for them, which kind of reinforces the decision, right? It's that sign, it's that speck and sign that she did the right thing, that he is not worth her time, talents, and energy. But this is the really interesting thing, right? This is the really interesting thing, and I love it when this happens. That within half a day, she had not 1, but 2 inquiries from absolutely dream, 10 out of 10 utopia, perfect clients who had been attracted to her vibe and the things she had been putting out there in order to get visible, and who were willing to work on her terms and at her price. And this happens every single time I set a boundary. Every single time I set a boundary, and every single time my clients set a boundary like this. You say no to what you don't want, to what you are no longer willing to tolerate. You create space. And what that does is it allows a new and perfect thing to come in. Let me know if you have ever had this experience as well. Okay, let's talk about case study number 2. So this is a long-term client of mine who is struggling with scope creep. So she is a consultant. She works on a project basis with several clients in her specialist area to advise them on financial strategy. And it's fair to say that her boundaries have been getting a little bit messy. And one of her clients in particular was taking the proverbial. There were emails in the evening, at weekends, and not just sending the emails, but expecting response and action from them. This client was texting over seemingly small questions, small requests. Can you just do this? Can you just give me an answer on this? Oh, I've got a deadline. Can you just answer me this right now? But they're never 5-minute jobs, are they? And those things were adding up and up and up. And it was having a huge knock on her confidence, on her work, and on her concentration, on her time with other clients. And it was also having a huge effect on her mental health because of the scope creep of this client. She wasn't doing the things that she needed to do to look after herself so she could show up as she wanted to in her business. Really, really important. So we went back to the question, what am I making this mean? And for her, we have been working on for a while now her good girl archetype. Have you heard of this? The good girl archetype. I talk about it a lot. It's basically her need to get a pat on the head and be told she's doing a good job. She's a good girl. She's doing the right thing. And for her, it's also linked to a need, a desire, a craving for financial security. And she's petrified that basically if she tells her clients no, or sets a boundary, they are going to sack her and find somebody else, and she's going to be out of a job. So, long story short, we looked at and we designed how she is going to manage that setting a boundary conversation with this particular client. Now, this is absolutely very possible and very necessary, I would argue, but you might need to put your big girl pants on if you're going to do this, but it's important. You've got to do it. So she's going to have a conversation that she'd rather not have, but is going to revolutionize things for her. And she is going to look at her product and service offering, so that if she chooses to work outside her stated hours, she's actually going to get compensated for it. And then the resentment will go. So in both these case studies, the underlying important thing, both client challenges come back to the question, what am I making this mean? And this is my favourite question. Like I say, if you've been in my world for a while, you would have heard me say it before. What am I making this mean? It's that whole, what's the story here? What narrative, what meaning am I attaching to the situation? And once you understand those layers, you can unpick them and choose differently. This question as well, what am I making this mean? It is the fastest route to authentic self-mastery. There are always going to be challenges in your business. There are always going to be bumps in the road and obstacles and things where you think, oh my gosh, how the heck am I going to navigate this one? It's never going to be plain sailing, right? You are never going to have a clear run at it to make things happen in the way that you would want to. However, having the self-awareness and the tools to understand your triggers and how to work through them is the easiest and best and most satisfying way to that path to success. And one of the best ways to avoid situations like this in the first place is to only work with clients in the first place that you connect with at a heart and at a gut level. Clients who get you, clients where you get them and you have a values alignment. And when you work with them, it doesn't feel like work. You cannot believe you are being paid to do this every day. And this is one of the key concepts that I teach inside Audacity Limitless You Academy. Did you know the doors are open right now for the autumn cohort of Audacity Limitless You Academy? Now, this is a small group coaching program over 90 days. It is a structured 6-step Audacity system that I teach in order for you to achieve your next level, in order for you to achieve an aligned and impactful business and authentic self-mastery. Doors are open right now. They are open until Sunday, the 1st of October, I think it is. And so that we've got another week, basically. If you have resonated with what we have talked about today, if you are curious about Audacity, there is a link in the notes for this conversation. You can also send me a message and we can have a chat about whether it is a good fit for you. Right, that is it from me today. Thank you for being here. Have an awesome day and I will see you very soon.